This conference will now be recorded.
There we go.
All right, tell you.
All right. So, yeah, thank you for joining us tonight. And we have a pretty easy way of introducing ourselves, and we always kind of start with the new members. But Megan, did you want to introduce yourself to everyone first?
Hi everyone. Thank you for having me. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
All right, just making sure this is a new device for me, so I wanted to make sure. I'm from Norwood, Pennsylvania, and again, just very happy to be here to have found you guys. So thank you.
Yay. So, are you newly diagnosed, or do you mind sharing your story about MS?
Not at all. I am not newly diagnosed. I was diagnosed, I want to say in 2009 or 2010. It's been
Okay.
so long I've lost track. I have secondary progressive MS at this point, and I stopped working in June of 2017 because the symptoms got kind of bad.
Okay. Okay. Well, welcome and thanks
Thank
for
you.
joining us. And then I'm just gonna go around and do introductions really quick. Tree, hi. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm Tree Tree. I was diagnosed last October, and I'm in San Antonio, Texas, and I have exciting news for later.
Oh, yay! Yay! And Leslie, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm okay. I'm a little tired. I'm not sleeping well. It's very noisy in my building, and I'm trying to move to the other side, but nothing until somebody moves out. I got no place to go. So, yeah. But other than that, yeah, just tired. But yeah, hi everyone. Hi every new people. Um, I was diagnosed in 2007, and I'm secondary progressive. I live in Los Angeles, California.
Yeah.
And yeah, hey.
Oh,
I won't be able to stay long because my cousin in Boston is going to call me about an hour, so I might have to,
okay.
yeah, maybe
Well,
grab some, yeah, in between the calls. Yeah.
well, thanks for the intro. And we'll go to Elizabeth. We're just doing
Hi.
intro.
Okay, just intro. My name's Elizabeth. I've had MS for 17 years, and I had been living in Anaheim, California. I'm living in North Carolina for a little while during the pandemic, but I plan to return to California.
Okay. And then we'll go to, okay, y'all just moved. So, Hannah, do you want to go next?
Sure. Well, my name is Hannah, and I've been diagnosed in 2017, June 28th to be exact. And I have relapsing remitting MS, and I'm from San Antonio, Texas, like Tree.
Yay. And then, see, I always make the men wait. So we'll go next. We'll go to Kim.
Kim from Des Moines, Iowa, diagnosed 2012, relapsing remitting.
All right. And then we'll shoot over to Frank.
Frank Austin, diagnosed in 1997. And I live out in the middle of Kansas, in the middle of nowhere, flyover country.
Okay.
And
And then
you got another
yeah,
new person.
yeah, Gwen, hi. We're just doing introductions. Can you hear us okay?
Gwen? Well, I can help you a little bit until she gets her audio straightened out. I know Gwen. She's my sister.
Oh.
And she has MS too. So, and I've been trying to get her on. So we've made progress. We've got at least got her on board. We just can't hear her.
Okay. Well, hopefully Gwen will get be joining us soon. And then Dan, do you want to introduce in the meantime?
Yes, I'm Dan Diggman. I've had MS since February of 2000, and I have relapsing remitting, and I live in Michigan with her.
And most of you know me, but I'm Jennifer Diggman, and I live in Michigan, like Dan said, and I am taking Rituxan, and my MS is also secondary progressive. So, woo woo. Yeah, we're representing tonight. So, okay, I have been told there's exciting news all over the place. So, Tree, do you want to share your exciting news?
Yeah, so the clinical trial, I finally got into it, and I started the medications last Thursday.
Yay!
Congrats, Treaty.
Yeah, so would you mind telling us a little bit more? Like, how did you get enrolled in the clinical trial?
So when I saw the MS specialist back in November, we went over the drug options, and I wanted Aubagio, and she was like, well, we're actually doing a clinical trial with Aubagio versus the newer version of Aubagio, which doesn't have a name yet, so I just called it the new Aubagio. And it's comparing the effectiveness of them against each other, I guess. So I'm either on Aubagio or the new Aubagio, and I won't find out for 3 years. But in the meantime, they pay for my medications, my MRIs, my doctor's visits, and my blood work.
That's awesome.
Yay!
That's really awesome.
Fantastic. That's really, really good. Well, congrats. Then, yeah, that's really
Thank you.
good.
When you started, then?
I started it on Thursday.
Oh, wow.
How often do you, like, I don't know much about Aubagio. What's,
It's a once a day pill. I'm actually taking 2 pills though. One's a placebo. So one of them looks like Aubagio and one looks like the new Aubagio. So I can't guess which one I'm on.
okay. And does it make you feel and like, do you have any side effects or?
I haven't had any side effects yet, and the people I know who are on Aubagio don't really have side effects from it. The biggest thing is that it can make you lose your hair and it can kill your liver. So you have to get regular blood work to test your liver.
Okay. Well, cool. Thank you for sharing. And then I got the impression that Elizabeth, you have some exciting. No, Rick. Yeah, we were a little late to the meeting. Do you know what I'm talking about, Hannah?
Yes, yes. So Rick informed me that you're going to be joining our event tomorrow, and forgive me for forgetting the name. I'm sorry, but he informed me that you were going to be joining with your brother. Is that right? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, I hadn't gotten the email yet, so this is, I didn't know if it was gonna be tomorrow or another date, because when I looked at I saw that there were other dates. Hi, Rick, but tomorrow I can totally do tomorrow. My brother and I.
Tomorrow. No, it's not tomorrow. Don't
It's not
worry.
tomorrow. Okay. I was like,
Okay, I was wrong.
You
When I
almost
saw
gave
the
her
other
an MS relapse there, you know? Don't do that.
Sorry.
No. It's totally fine. Because I went in prepared that it might be the end of this month. So my brother and I have been, playing around with some songs for a little bit. I'm not going to do the tap dancing rig because it's always I could do a couple of steps, but I never know quite what I'm gonna get when I put on the tap shoes because my numbness levels go up and down in my feet. So I'm gonna stick with singing probably.
Well, we can try you out, and you can say I am gonna tap or I'm not gonna tap on the night. But I think it'll probably be the end of April. So you got plenty.
Okay, and I've got time to prepare. Okay, then
Yes.
yeah, maybe I'll do both if I have 15 minutes. Short time.
And what I wanted everybody to know was that, and which is just amazing to me with MS, that that Elizabeth volunteered to tap dance for us, which is just phenomenal.
And so everyone knows what Rick is talking about.
No.
There's going to be like a music show or
We have there's a theater company very reputable in the Bay Area, and they have a series called Solo Arts Here, which is about how people use performance art to help them manage their own conditions. And we are collaborating with them starting tomorrow night, and we get a variety of different artists that we are seeking, and they'll be doing their piece, and then I'll be talking to them about how important their art is in helping them get through their condition and manage their condition. And we can, it's any type of condition, and it's any type of performance art, and we're excited, and we're kicking off tomorrow night. So, and you'll all get if you're on our email list, which most of you are, you will get a little reminder in about half an hour.
okay. Well,
And you are most likely looking at our star for, well, half of our star, because there is another half to this, to the duo, Elizabeth's brother, but for the end of April. So thank you, and that's it. And I'll give you back the meeting. I just didn't want Elizabeth to go through this thing. Oh my God, this is going to be tomorrow. No, we wouldn't do that to you.
all right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that's good news.
That's exciting.
But although traditionally I do like to have an element of tricking myself into doing things like it was easier to walk to the park with my kids if I decided spur of the minute to do it versus if I planned it. So when I do like open mic night and stuff, I'd be like, well, maybe I will. The spur of the moment decision seems to give me the adrenaline to do the things I want to do.
Understood.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. So I suppose, yeah, Megan, how did you, if you don't mind being put on the spot, how did you find us tonight?
I did some Googling recently looking for virtual support groups. As I said, I stopped working in 2017 and I kind of secluded myself quite a bit. I just kind of stay in my house and do my thing. And I realized that it's probably not very healthy. So I'm trying to,
Okay.
work past that.
And would you remind me again? I got the MS too. Where did you say you lived?
I'm in Norwood, Pennsylvania. It's just outside of Philly.
Okay, so Pennsylvania. You don't have an accent.
You know what? I guess it depends on what I say. I don't think I do, but
Okay.
I could be accused of being biased.
Huh. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. So, Frank, do you know if your sister is like Gwen? I don't know if Gwen can hear us.
I'm sure she can hear us, but
Okay.
she's muted. What were you going to ask?
I was just, I'm sorry, what?
If I know, I'll tell you.
No, I was just wondering if Gwen can hear us and if, yeah,
I'm sure
I don't know. She can, so that's good. So I suppose I don't want to be like totally moderating all by myself. I mean, how's everyone doing? And yeah.
Good, thank you. How about you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm a little frazzled today because It's the National Multiple Sclerosis Society's Public Policy Conference yesterday and today. And so we were like in meetings like with session, like not with legislators, but we're learning about meeting with legislators.
What'd you think of it, Frank?
I,
For being I mean, because normally they hold it. We go out to DC and actually do it, but with COVID, with everything else, we didn't go, and this year, so it was all virtual, and so it was different. But I thought for what it was, I think it was good. I'm glad it wasn't like all day both days, but yeah.
yeah, it was different. Uh, my only concern was that I thought we were a little bit soft on what we were going after this year. I mean, the two things that we picked ought to be pretty slam dunks. I don't think we stretched. I don't think the society stretched what we were trying to accomplish this year at all. But that's my opinion.
Yeah.
What were the things that were picked, if you don't mind me asking?
Here, let me. Well, I've got the sheets right here. So, and seriously, we will, and we can send it out, and you all can, because that was the nice thing about the virtual PPC is like anybody, everybody nationwide can do it. So it's like you all can do it too, reaching out to your legislators and everything. What we're asking for. One is telehealth and MS. Now I feel like I'm reading a bedtime story, so stick with me. But it's like the request, we want to support the Telehealth Modernization Act and Protecting Access to Post-COVID-19 Telehealth Act of 2021. So I mean, really, it's telehealth. I mean, that's what's good about here in Michigan is like it's so rural, and I imagine they're in Iowa and even into Texas and Pennsylvania and stuff. I mean, because they're so rural areas and everything, and so there's that, and then also funding for the the MS research program at the Department of Defense, and basically asking to fund $20 million for fiscal year 2022. Which really, I think that's just something. It seems like that's just an annual ask of what we do is for MRSP. But it's so depending on where you're going, what party your legislator or senator represents, and I don't want to say slam dunk because I do know, and that's part of why we were late. Is we here in Michigan, and we're connected with the Ohio people, and we had like a virtual happy hour after PPC got over, so we were hanging with them and just talking about things, and it was interesting because one of our friends from Ohio said that there was I think it was her congressman that would not support the funding for the MRSP. It was just like MSRP. So but you're right, Frank. It seemed a little. I don't want to say lighter this year, but just that usually we go and there's like House and Senate bills that we're advocating for, and it's kind of across the board, some similar, some different. But I don't know if it was with the state of the economy, with everything with COVID, with relief bills and things like that. Is that where they sort of backed off to make it so it wasn't as challenging? But I don't know.
Well, I think part of it is they were doing something new and they didn't want to get in too deep. They didn't want to get into the weeds too much.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be better next year. I got a feeling this is the way it's going to be forever. I mean, the money that was saved was tremendous.
Yeah.
Just because we didn't help. Usually there are about 300 of us that have to go to DC. And when you start talking about 300 people flying into Washington, it's expensive. And the hotels for everybody is, a couple $100 a night, meals. And so it's an expensive little venture. And this is a cheaper way to go. And I just think we're going to have to work our way through it. I think what we're doing right here is the way lots of meetings are going to be done, even in business in the future. I think we've set a new way of getting things done. So
Yeah.
the only thing that I really wished we had done or they had done is given us an update on what's going on with the neurological disease surveillance system.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that, they invested $15 million in it so far. What have we got? What have we done so far? And that's the thing that I wish they had brought into it. But that's my.
But it's a good event. Like if you're wanting to get involved with the MS Society and everything, I think it's a good event. But yeah. Hi, Karen. Welcome. We kind of
I'm
already.
late to the I'm late to the party, so can you just say who they are? I kind of get it. There's a conference that happens in Washington. It might, but who are they?
The National Multiple Sclerosis Society.
Okay.
And it's a conference to like hopefully empower people living with MS. And Frank and Dan and I were there today, and it's just it's a good event. And I just mentioned that I don't know, Elizabeth, did you by chance have a chance to go?
I only was able to take a peek when it was first opening today at the opening session. I got to see a couple of people that they highlighted, MS activists, but after that I had to get back to doing homeschool with my kids. It was my part of homeschool. So I was up and
I didn't hear about it. I didn't hear about it, and I get their magazine, so I don't know how that works.
Well, like Frank was saying, it's probably going to be on virtual for maybe next year. I don't know, but
Was it one day? Today was a one day? That was it?
it was yesterday and today.
Oh.
Did they report any sort of attendance?
Yeah, they had close to 1,000, I believe.
Wow.
And
There were 544 when I looked today that were online with us at the
yeah. So I mean, they had good numbers and.
Yeah, because I mean they were pushing that out on their social media and everything with the links, but we will send everybody as part of like that because this is like ongoing, at least for the next month or so. I mean, because we had to set up meetings with our two senators and our representative, and just to have usually it would be in-person meetings, but obviously it'll all be like virtual or over the phone within the next couple weeks and stuff. But I'll send it because I know they were really pushing that even to today, just saying, if you haven't participated, register today, and so it's there. But that way, I mean, everybody can be involved and reach out to your senators. And I mean, then after national, I mean, they do stuff at the state level too. So I don't know when State Action Day will be down in Texas or out there in Iowa. Or it's very active throughout the nation. So oops, you hear that? That's that they're saying I need to take my Neurontin or gabapentin, if you will.
Dan and Jennifer, you mentioned that it's a good thing to get involved with. How would you get involved, and what exactly can you do?
Well, if you're a big mouth like Dan and I
can be.
Or would you say Dan and me? Grammar is not my
Dan and me.
Grammar is more Dan's strong suit. But it gives us an opportunity if you want to be like involved, like trying to do advocacy. In the past, we've met with legislators to talk about how expensive our medicines, like drug prices are. Or here at the state level, we're trying in the past, we've talked about home modification tax credits. It's just like it's a political opportunity, not political, but just an opportunity to use our voice, get out awareness about multiple sclerosis. So when you're feeling puny and like, oh, there's nothing I can do, I can get on the phone and I can try and make things happen.
Yeah, I mean, if you're there like around Philadelphia, I mean, we know some activists out there that we could connect you with, because I know, no, that's just it. You can never have enough voices. I mean, so, just like that. I mean, right here, what there's 10, 11 of us, 10 of us. I mean, that'd be a great, chunk of people.
Yeah.
Dan,
So
I'd appreciate that. Thank you. I'm sorry.
was the thing this week that happened? Was it political action? Is that was the focus?
No,
Not
it's
political.
Yeah, it's policy.
It's like policy, and it's more about just like activism and just talking with legislators and just getting your face out there, getting multiple sclerosis out there, so that people don't forget about how important our voices are. So,
Oh, did they say anything? I'm just a malcontent about the MS Society, but especially when it comes to primary progressive, because I did go to a conference like 2 years ago in Berkeley at the Ed Roberts campus. I mean, it's like the Center for Independent Living. And I asked it, anything about primary progressive? All you ever hear is Ocrevus, even though at my age it's not likely to help. So I just feel really disappointed with that, because when I first was diagnosed, I found on their website a page, like 2 pages about this. I know I've mentioned this before, but
yeah.
still pissed. This historical conference that happened like 10 years ago, and we're committed to primary progressive. And then, a year later, it's not even on the website. And when I went to there, I made copies of it. I asked the people who were sponsoring it, are you aware of this? No, I'm not. Well, here, we're committed. Well, what has changed? Ocrevus, that's all you hear. So I feel really disappointed with these, organizations, and even like political action, because everybody, says to me, come on, isn't there something? There must be something. Is there something outside of Kaiser? There must be something, there must be something. And it's like, well.
Yeah. And that can be frustrating, and especially like with primary progressive MS, because you're right. I don't know if there's a lot of information or treatments, and yeah.
But yeah, I mean the visibility, and they're like, well, we're committed to at least, have information. And I'm like, well, boy, now they even took that little article out. It's like, you're so committed, but you didn't do anything for 10 years. So now you took that article off the website. That's where I found it. So I'm feeling, really, it kind of makes me really pissed.
I'd revisit, because I think that's where, they're seeing that, there's a lot of people, like, just look at the group right here, how many have secondary primary progressive MS. And so I think that's really, has changed over the years in terms of like, connecting with all forms of MS. Obviously, relapsing, remitting, yes, it's still, the bigger focus, I guess. But I mean, it's like there's a lot going, especially in the research world and stuff. So I think, give it another shot. I think that's with Sunday, next Sunday.
Yeah.
No, it's this coming Sunday. My day, this coming Sunday, like 28th is Progressive MS Day, and I think that's that's something to just pay attention. It's just things that get the progressive MS in the news, get people talking about it. So it's just like, so people don't forget, because it's a lot like with, your legislation, because what we're trying to do is just increase awareness. And these just happen to be the 2 primary issues that the society's collectively going to the elected officials to have a concerted effort, so it's not being split all over. And so we're doing that as collective voices. But it's like, if we don't talk about it, who's going to talk about it? So, to continue talking about, your primary progressive MS, secondary progressive MS, just like what's available, how are we pushing this forward? I mean, if we don't keep talking about it, if not me, who? And if I'm not doing that, why would I expect any of my friends to help me get the message out? So it's just like, I want to be like Jennifer says that, I'm quoting my wife, but she says she's going to talk about MS so much that
somebody will find a cure just to shut me up.
Yeah, I mean, and I want it about progressive, and that's why I'm saying it now. That it was just so disheartening that the MS Society itself, I'm on the phone and I'm like, there was an article. Are you aware of it? No, I'm sorry, I'm not. Because I'm guessing the counselors probably, it's like beginning career, finish school, got Lindsay's, they're all like names of like 30-year-olds, Lindsay and Jennifer. And they're like, no, I'm sorry, I'm not aware of it. And then at the conference, I'm like, well, you're not aware of it. Like, but do you care? I mean, here, look at the article. And I even did a follow-up, like you're saying. I'm making noise about it. How is this? How could you have taken this off your website? It's like, well, maybe Karen Browder made some noise. And they went, whoops, we never did anything. Okay, let's just bury that.
Yeah, well, and that's a good point, and it's just difficult. Like, I think for all of us, it's so effing frustrating to have this disease and to not know answers. And then for you, Karen, you're just like, there's nothing, and it's got to be really frustrating. I don't know.
Yeah, but
Well, I found you. I'll tell you, I did a little research like a few weeks ago before like literally that weekend about stuff, and I found some European conference that focused on primary progressive, and I saved some links, but my brain doesn't work right. That's the thing. Everybody's like, well, I was like, no, I got holes in my brain. I can't hang on to the material. I can't, okay, I clicked, I looked, but I don't remember. And I mean, they pretty much were saying, yeah, we really have, we really haven't, the same story, well, we really haven't tackled that. We haven't tackled that. But somehow it took me, I don't even know how I found this group. So, I do revisit, I do go back, I knock on doors, and I'm like, and my first question was to Rick, so who pays for this? Because, I'm finding so much that the drug companies, when they pay for stuff, they just want you to be happy. They want you to talk about how you're coping and how good everything is. And it's like, it's not good. It's not good.
Can I pipe in, Karen? I just wanted to say I do understand your frustration 100% because I kind of took a MS break in the 5 years that I was breastfeeding and pregnant with my kids because I was in a mostly remission, and so I saw the difference before those 5 years and after those 5 years, and I found a wealth of support and stuff that hadn't been available before I took that break. But the second thing I wanted to say is touching on the research and the medications that are being studied for primary progressive MS. It's just that they don't. It's kind of like it didn't exist, or that the EAE, the experimental encephalitis, whatever they give, allergic encephalitis that they give to the mice, didn't represent primary progressive or secondary progressive, but progressive kind of MS well, because it's not a perfect model. And there's a new animal model that I can't remember. Dr. Brandon Bieber has a video on it, and I'll try to look it up and share the link in our chat. But it's they designed the mice to have like fluorescent nerves in their brains that will light up underneath the camera, and then they surgically put a window, like a piece of glass. They removed the skull and put a piece of glass so that, and then they gave the mice an agent that strips the copper from their nerves and the oligodendrocytes, and so they're able to see demyelination in real time. through these imaging techniques. And so I think that research, it won the award this in 2020, some award, $100,000 award. It's a man with Johns Hopkins University that developed it, but he was talking about that they'll be able to take drugs that are currently FDA approved and test them, so that the amount of time that it would take to get a drug that might help more with different kinds of MS would be much shorter, because it wouldn't be this long clinical trial process. They would be testing things that were already FDA approved. And I think that is really encouraging, because I don't think they had a model that represented progressive MS very well. And I think
But
that was why.
the biggest problem about that is, sorry, I'm in this kind of a mood about this, is mice don't get MS. So, mice do not get MS. So,
but the thing
I
is
hear what
that
you're saying. It sounds like somewhat hopeful, but still, mice don't get it. So
they can see the demyelination. It's like another model. It's like, now, before they only had approximation of MS, but now they have two approximations.
Yeah.
And the model they have to approximate it better represents what happens both in relapsing MS and progressive models of MS. But I'll share the links so you don't have to hear me go on and on about it. But I just found it so interesting and so hopeful.
Yeah.
For the future.
But I'm with you, Leslie and Karen. It's good news, Elizabeth, and I think we all feel like that, where it's like, why can't they just fix it? And you just can't. And the animal models, and it can be exhausting sometimes, especially if you don't feel well and but I think that's that's obviously like the best way, but it's just like, really, come on, move along and make stuff happen.
yeah, there's not an incentive for the drug companies. Look at this pandemic we're in. Who's finding the answers? Pharmaceuticals, not scientists. It's just shock. It's just like, wow. That one really made me just go, I don't want to dominate with this negativity, but that really made me think, wow, who is finding a cure? Who's finding a vaccine? It's pharmaceutical companies. And I'm almost 70, so you can't even get into a clinical trial at 65. So I don't feel so hopeful. I'm hopeful for you, but I'm not hopeful for me. And I think not just primary progressive, because Jennifer, you have secondary progressive. We're probably more in the same boat. And one of the things I found in that little European thing that I didn't really take notes on, but I did some things, and it's just, because it's what I'm facing. It's just such a rapid decline, and it's been COVID, so we're home, and so people don't really see my decline. I look good, right? They're like, "Oh, you seem fine to me." I can barely walk, and I feel like I'm like a month away from not being able to drive, maybe 2 weeks away. So it's, my situation is pretty critical. And then when I revisited the notes the other day, they were like, "Yeah, as you age." And this is what I heard, just for everyone, that a lot of people, like they think that maybe or somebody who's had MS for a really long time, but you had reserves, so you were able to fight it. And I know my MS specialist said, you might have had it for a long time, but you didn't know. And I thought, what? But when I read that thing, it was saying, but you have reserves. And then as you age, Leslie, good news for you. You don't have any reserves anymore, and you just can't fight it. You can't fake it. You can't fight it. You just don't have it, because I just see such a rapid decline in my cognition, even though I seem fine. So anyway, that's the bad news, but I'm glad I found
Karen, for
everybody
what
here.
it's worth, I'm sorry. I'm 49. I can't drive. I haven't driven for 2 years, so I understand. And I'm secondary, not primary, so I
Yeah,
get your
but
pain.
just loss, but that the loss is more rapid. It's not so much, oh, I won't be able to drive, but just that the decline, the cognitive, everything, it's so
I can
rapid.
assure you, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you have that progressive, you get it,
Mm.
Yeah.
But it was kind of disheartening to go, okay, well, when you're older, it's like, oh, great.
Yeah.
I hear you, Karen.
One more thing to look forward to.
Yeah,
Right.
people say, I mean, I look great, and it's like, well, thank you, but they don't understand. It's like my brother was asking me to explain it, and he's a doctor, but he's an epidemiologist. So, separate field. He's actually working in the COVID thing right now, and I showed him this. I have this affirmation that I showed him, and I said, from the outside looking in, it's hard to understand. It's hard to understand, and from the inside looking out, it's hard to explain that people, they just don't get it because they see me and I look great, so they think I don't have MS right now. I only have it when, I don't know when they think I have it,
Well,
but they
because I know someone, my friend, my brother, my sister, my somebody had like relapse remission, and they have drugs now. And, yeah, no matter what, I think it's just a denial of people that, if somebody calls me up and they're like, well, let's go for a walk. It's like, I was begging people to take me for a walk last year. I can't walk now. And then when she hangs up, she goes, okay, well, maybe we can go for a walk.
yeah, they don't know, they don't get it. Yeah, but Karen, are you with Kaiser,
Yeah.
and are you on any medications?
I'm on Ampera, and that's
Oh,
my other anger with the MS Society, because they put on this conference with a really good-looking guy from Canada, young doctor, and he just was talking about, who's here on vitamin D, who's on this and that, and I talked to him even afterwards, but they didn't mention Ampera, and I'm like, oh, because they weren't the pharmaceutical company that was sponsoring all the food that they had to throw out because they didn't get enough. That there's just so much waste, but yeah.
but see,
So
you're newly diagnosed, right?
2 years.
Okay, because back in the day, all these drug companies would hire a doctor and they would have it at a restaurant, either lunch or
Oh
dinner.
yeah.
Yeah. And so it was a great learning experience. You go and you learn about all the different drugs and all of just I learned about MS. You pick little tidbits out of what they talked about and everything. So like if you're saying, well, they didn't talk about Ampera, they can't. They can only maybe talk about the pharmaceutical that's paying them for that talk. You know what I'm saying?
This was Stanford. This was a Stanford doctor who was there, and I just was shocked because the Ampera really has helped me. I didn't know how much it helped me until I stopped taking it. So
Well,
I was done. Like, well, gosh, why aren't they talking about that?
they can't talk or recommend anything. They'll say, talk to your doctor about it. So they can't.
But it wasn't, this was the MS Society sponsored and Stanford, and Stanford's just pushing Ocrevus now like crazy. So, because I couldn't get a second opinion at Kaiser when I first got diagnosed because someone was on maternity leave and they had someone in Sacramento. I'm not going to go there. And then I was going to try to go to Stanford, and then she came back from maternity leave. It's $100 to spend an hour, $1,000 to spend an hour. I mean, they didn't even go $1,000. It's $984.35. It's like, come on, to talk to somebody from an hour where I just wanted a second opinion. I didn't doubt the diagnosis, but I wanted a second opinion. And so, when I went to that conference, I felt like I got my second opinion from that Stanford doctor, about what they're recommending.
Karen, where do you live?
Oakland, Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area.
Because down here, there's connected with USC, there's a great MS, I want to say department, but it's bigger than that. But there's a huge organization in the Keck Foundation. There's a Dr. Leslie Weiner. His name's on the building, but he's retired now. But they have something, I said, I don't know what to call it. Let's just call it a building devoted to MS. And they have great people there
Well, I'm not complaining about my people. You know that my doctor worked at UCSF, and she's very well connected to there. And the second opinion doctor was very, I don't doubt my diagnosis.
Yeah,
I don't doubt it. I just wanted to know for sure, and
Well, whatever.
everything I'm fine. So
Yeah,
I don't, I have a really good team. I mean, it was not easy. I'm just gonna say, everybody, advocate, 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 advocate for yourself. I was just have a really good team, and it didn't come easy, but but
Have you
I pushed and pushed and pushed.
have you seen your MRIs?
Yeah.
So have you seen like mine show very old scarring? I mean, they said, oh yeah, definitely, and you've had it a long time, so there's no doubt. Let's just say there was no doubt. And now looking back, I can see incidences that occurred that I probably had it my whole adult life. Yeah, there's no question about it. But the
Yeah, so
MRI,
that's new. That's new information for me that I recently discovered, that they're saying, that you could have had it for a long time. Because I've been having cognitive decline, and I've sort of been joking, like, but now it's not funny. I said I must have been a fucking genius, because I still sound smart, and I got like 65% of my brain. I was a genius, but it just, yeah.
because I had this time, this is like back in the 80s, where I remember I was washing my hair and my arms were so heavy. And I remember I told a friend of mine about it, and he just laughed and was like, I'm not going to tell anybody about that, because I didn't need someone to laugh. I mean, it was the weirdest sensation, but it probably was something at the time. Yeah.
Well, I probably shouldn't say this right now. It might not be the right subject to bring up, but I'm doing a magazine interview tomorrow for Momentum Magazine. And
Yay.
What magazine? What's the
Momentum,
magazine?
the National MS Society's national magazine.
Oh, good for you, Frank. That's awesome.
What
What
for?
is it called?
What's it about?
And the subject is advocacy. So,
What did you say? Momentum? Is that from that?
yes, the name of the MS Society's magazine, quarterly magazine.
Nice. Congratulations, Frank. That's huge.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Excuse me. The guy called and he said, somebody at the MS Society recommended they call me. So I don't even know.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think they have somebody in there that keeps an eye on people in the MS community and contacts them whenever they need something. I really think that. Well, that's exciting, Frank.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Absolutely.
See how bad
What are you going to talk about? Do you have an agenda, or are you going to let him lead it, or her?
I'll lead it. He's got questions to ask.
You said it's about advocacy?
It is about advocacy. Yes.
Yes, you are awesome.
I've been doing it a while. I was gonna show Karen called Momentum, but I can't find it.
I was going to
Kim,
say. Oh, go ahead.
I noticed, Kim, that you're sitting up on the couch today. Are you feeling a little bit better?
Yeah, my fatigue has been better. Thank you. Yeah, I actually cleaned out my garage on Saturday.
Wow.
And I was decluttering a bunch of stuff at the office because my dad didn't have a lot to do and he was motivated. The newest thing I probably cleared out was 2005. But yeah, I started that personal trainer back in November and then bumped it up to twice a week in January, and I'm really noticing a difference on what I can do. My ADLs, because I have the strength, and it's not like, oh, it's too heavy. And I don't know if I said it in this group a couple weeks ago, but a couple weeks ago he had me do an exercise, and it just shows you how far I've come, where I'm like holding a 30-pound kettlebell on one side of me, and then just leaning on one side and the other, which is not a hard exercise to do, but the fact that I could continually hold a kettlebell, or is it kettlebell or kettlebell? I think it's kettlebell, and doing it for so many reps on either side because you feel really lopsided. It was just like, wow, I've really come a long ways. And so I am just incredibly thankful because it's opened up so many doors for me just because I know with you guys with the fatigue also comes the weakness and you're like, am I actually weak or I just feel really weak? And I think it was definitely both of them from my standpoint, but just like I got on my electric bike for the first time on Sunday and I think it was a lot easier for me to bike because I had the muscle strength and the duration, and so it's just been a huge game changer for me. I feel like I've been able to do, because before just doing a lot of simple tasks are just so draining, and the fact that I took literally almost everything out of my garage, it's just a one-car garage, just a small garage, out into the backyard and reorganized it and cleaned it and brought it all back in. I thought I was gonna bomb at one point and be like, I'm done. I hit this peak and I didn't. I was able to stay focused and get the whole task done. And we moved here 4.5 years ago, and I've never had a chance to organize the garage. My husband has, but I haven't been able to organize it in the way that because I use stuff there more, and it just was really nice and therapeutic. And we've decluttered the place. We took like our city, like 9 months out of the year, they have a 1 day a month you can go haul stuff away, and borrowed a truck and from the company and filled it full of stuff from the previous owners, like storm windows, screens, just lots of random stuff boards. And I don't know, it's just nice to be able to finally do things that drive you crazy, that you don't have the energy to do it, and then you actually can do it, and you're just like, whoa. So the guy that's my personal trainer, he has like this MS niche that he has. His grandma has MS, but he's talking about buying a gym. It's a little kind of far. I couldn't go to the gym. It's way too far for me. But I am just enjoying it while it lasts, and hopefully I'll find. But it's just really hit home, like, no matter what happens, Kim, because I just train in his basement by ourselves with masks on. He's always out of my space unless he's handing me something. And it's just really hit home, like, I probably will, because some people are amazing and can be very self-directed when it comes to working out, but lifting weights bores me to tears. I just can't stand it. So I need someone to talk and be conversational with and have. So it's just really hit home that that's going to be one of my items that I will have to spend money and do if I want to be able to be as productive. I'm going to have to spend money on that. And he's really cheap right now, but when things get back to normal, that probably will go up. But
what made you decide? I mean, what made you like Bravo just on that? Because it does cascade when you start to get things done. Like after I went to this group, I started doing more things, and then I had like those little things that bother you, like the paint on my ceilings falling down. And I found somebody to come and do that handyman stuff. And it's like, look at that, it's fit. Oh my God, my sink doesn't drip anymore. I wake up to a dry sink. Oh my goodness. Just my door isn't flying open, all that, because it just cascades. But what made you say, oh, okay, I'm going to go to a personal trainer? Or, what was the impetus?
I was in this 12-week program for MSers in my area. It was for free. It was video conferencing, and the physical therapist was talking about lifting weights and all that stuff. And I'm like, this bores me to tears. I can't, I don't have the self-motivation. And one of the other MSers is like, hey, I don't use this personal trainer, but I know someone who has MS that does, and she absolutely loves him. And I'm just like, hook me up, girl. And so she gave me his information. I texted him. I think I met him that day or the next day. And then the next week, we started working out together. And it was really nice because the fear I have a personal trainer, they don't always understand what MS is, because it's that delicate balance of pushing me enough to get me to do something, but not push me over where I'm in bed for 2 days. So he does this amazing job. And for me, when it comes to working out, I am the worst self-monitor. It's like I have a shield and I can't judge my fatigue or anything. but he is just tuned in, and it just works out really well. And it was just so nice not being like, sometimes you go to a class and they're just like in their CrossFit world or something. And they're like, dude, if I start doing burpees in like 30 seconds, I'm going to be on the floor for the rest of the day. I don't have that kind of energy, but he's just, and he does it so well that as I get better, he just slowly stair steps it up. So it's not like we're, okay, the next step, oh, that's too much. So I'm just floored. And he's a young guy. Like, he just turned 25 in December. He's a young dude, but he knows his stuff. He's very, very good at what he does, for me anyway. And then if I'm like, oh, I think I'm hitting a plateau, he'll just start inching up a little bit more and I'll feel it. But he's like, well, how'd you feel? I'm like, no, I wasn't really that sore. I'm actually doing well. And I don't know. It's just refreshing, because I felt I failed in that area in so many ways. And I just hate, to give you a background story to people that didn't know, like, I think it was fall of 2019, I was essentially bedbound for 5.5 months. And I really took a hit on my strength, and it just kept, it was getting kind of scary on how weak I was. And it's just, I got to do something about it. And so
I'm gonna go get my little weights right now because I'm with you. It's boring, but like y'all are here.
And he has me do like my legs. There's nothing legs that I like lift. Like, the biggest thing that I lift with my legs is when I do squats. I'm holding like a 20 or 30 pound kettlebell. But everything else is just my own weight. But yet my legs are so much stronger than they were. And it's so nice because it's very well rounded. He knows what muscles he's hitting and how to do it. And when I first did the exercises, he wouldn't repeat the muscle group in the set of 4 or something we did. So I'm like, how do I do? And he's like, well, because I do that. Like, oh. And I'm like, what's your secret? Like, how do you figure out? And he's like, I look at your breathing, I look at your blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
It's just like, but sometimes I think when he doesn't want me to talk, he works me harder.
Yeah. Good job, Karen.
Oh, Karen. I love that.
That's like my physical therapist. I haven't really been doing the things because I keep losing muscle tone, and it's just depressing. It's like, can't you strengthen? It's like, no. I mean, can the blind person see? Can the paralyzed, body move? And then she said, well, then I told her I did a little dance thing, and she said, well, why don't you like FaceTime with someone and just like, spend 5 or 10 minutes together doing stuff. And it's like, what? But now I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And that's what's awesome, is you find the inspiration wherever you get it.
Yeah.
That's
Because
good.
my doctor would say, like, hold your seat. Because, if I can't even pick up my 11-pound walker.
Karen, don't do that. Karen, don't do that.
Because
that's not a natural movement. If you're going to lift the weights, go like, have your thumbs up on your weights and go like at a 45-degree angle. That's, to put your arms out like that is not a natural movement. You don't reach for anything in that direction. If you know what I'm saying.
my doctor's an osteopath, so she's given me things to do. So
Yeah, I don't know if now's the right time but whatever.
Okay.
One thing that was really cool about the side effect of lifting weights and doing this weight training with my personal trainer is it would give me a boost of energy. So when I come home, then I could go walk my dogs and I could get my cardio in. So it was just like it's just a positive wheel of, things, making it go better and better. And so, yeah, I've been very happy. I'll be very sad the day when he's like, I'm sorry, Kim, I can't train anymore because I'm going to be at this location, which is 30 miles away. And I've told him, I'm like, I know the day is going to happen. I'm like, happy for you and all, but you need to find someone and train them for us as MSers. But he has a soft spot for us because his grandma has MS, and we're cool people. We're really cool people. So
you do it at a physical location?
Yeah, he used to do it at a gym, but when COVID hit, so he actually does stuff at his basement, which is literally, I did not know where this guy was at when she talked, because she's like, he'll do it virtually. I'm like, okay. And his phone number, area code was like in Wisconsin. And then I talked, I'm like, well, I'm in Des Moines. And then I found out he was like not too far from me, like 5, maybe 8 minutes away from me. So very doable because I can get real fatigued just driving. will drain me really fast. So if he was across town, I'd be like, I probably couldn't go. But since he's down the street, I'm like, yeah, I could go there.
I had a trainer, we lived in the same building and he moved. And so I'm in the same position. It's like, oh no, I can't self-motivate and have to, hopefully maybe I can find someone in this building or nearby, or I don't know. But yeah.
There was a MS when I got diagnosed. They found out there was an MS, yoga for MS group that met literally a mile from my house. And I live in a residential neighborhood, so it's not like there's not a lot that happens where I live, and that was kind of amazing. And she's such a goofball. I couldn't, I would go just because it was the only time I was around other people with MS, or and most of us are older in that group, but it's so disappointing when even people with MS, she's like, well, you'll get used to it. I've had it for a long time. And I'm in there and I'm getting weaker and weaker. And she's the teacher. And she's like, okay, stand on one leg. Like, really? Jennifer, why don't you stand on one leg? It just, so it was just absurd. She wasn't really doing yoga, for me, but it was like, it's a mile from my house. And I don't like mornings, and I'm like, okay, but it's like 10 or 10:30. I was like, come on, you could do it. You could go that like right over there. But it's so disappointing when, people who even think like somebody said, when it's think that they ought to know.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of yoga classes that were designated for people with MS, and they were really good. And one of them was so like people were in chairs, people on the floor, people standing up. It was just so wired for a wide range of abilities. And if you had to support a chair standing up, or if you couldn't stand up, that was okay. And it was just really well thought out. I've been really impressed in some of those.
What was interesting is I was doing something when Dr. Aaron Foster was there. It was maybe a week ago. I can't even remember at this moment. And he was just talking about the link between exercise and how that can help your brain, like your mind. And I was like, interesting. And he just said, I don't know if any of you ever heard anything about that. Like, just like increase.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was an article this month, I'm sorry, in Momentum magazine actually about that.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah.
We just got ours today, and I didn't pour through it because Frank Austin wasn't featured in this one. Next time.
Yeah, but like the newest edition of Momentum, there's something about that.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, it's a lot of good articles in there, but it does speak specifically to that, and that it helps to not only hopefully, obviously increase energy, but delay ideally disability. It's a study that they're looking into. I forget where it's at. I don't think it's the U.S.
Okay, well that's interesting.
I'm gonna
Absolutely,
have
it
to.
is.
Yeah, this is something that so my sister is a yogi teacher, so that's what she does, and her mentor is somebody who focuses in mindfulness, but also how mindfulness and yoga can contribute to not only your physical health but your overall health too. And so I'm gonna need to like I guess pick her brain a little bit more because I have a hard time understanding it sometimes and
Yeah.
like keeping the information in, but I'm trying. And I do want to pick her brain a little bit more about that because there really are connections with the mind and the body and how just sort of trying to get into yourself, so to speak, by doing these physical exercises. Um, it does something to your brain to help alleviate pain and help alleviate stress and therefore contributes overall to your well-being. So there is a lot about that, and I'll have to get back to you guys on that.
Yeah,
And that
Absolutely.
There
we
is
were talking about.
There's a yoga for disability class that happened. It was happening in Oakland, and I would go. It was for any kind of disability. And the teacher was really great. And then she moved away. And then COVID happened. But now she's doing it online. I could put it in the link. because it's pay what you want. You know, it's like sliding scale, 0 to 15. And she's really very, very good. She's very good. I can't explain to myself why I'm not going to that, but she's really, really, really good. I think I know why I don't go, because that weird MS yoga teacher goes to it. And I saw her face and I was just like, she wants to complain, because I've done a lot of kind of movement body stuff. And I remember I was like, you're there. And I went,
All right.
like, if I was that loud. And she said she had a
Bye,
problem.
Bye, Leslie.
Hi, Leslie.
Bye.
Bye,
See you later. Bye.
Good to
Safe.
see you.
Everyone.
Yeah,
You as well.
see you.
She had a problem that I was sighing, and then someone said, well, maybe it sounded like you were like being sexual. I'm like, no, it was like, it was like that. It's just from any kind of body stuff I've done with you, you're kind of like, you know,
Yep.
you're letting the teacher know. She's just so wacky. Now, when I went to the Yoga for Disability, I said, is that a problem? Breathing. I mean, I know I'm a pain in the ass, but breathing. But I do, I was doing it kind of in this room. I liked it for the nap, but then there's another practice. I would say with the yoga thing, stick with that. But there's a practice that I was doing beforehand, and it was, I had this horrible weekend like a month ago, and then I found this group, and Rick said, "You're gonna see it. It's gonna change your life. You're gonna see that. It's gonna change your life." Well, he was right. And then 2 days later, I came to this, and then 2 days later, I went back to this biodanza practice that I've done. Like, I don't think it's good to jump in online if you don't know what it is. And it's easier for me to do. I don't have to go there. And I did it, and it was like a reset of my nervous system. And so I think, like Hannah, what you're saying, it's still, there's different ways to get to that spot. But it's like, I was just amazed. I was done. I sat in my, and then everything changed. And then I found the handyman. And then I got this, I got just things started to cascade. So.
And that's awesome.
So
To
do you
that
feel
point,
like
though,
you can go to those classes, Karen? I know that the other gal has been attending, but I mean, I hate for you to miss out on an amazing instructor because of another person.
I think there was just other things, like just other things that were kind of driving me crazy. But I started to go swimming, and then I started to go swimming. It's very hard to go swimming now, and it's hard for me to get to it. And they started to open up pools, and they closed the one in my neighborhood, but there's another pool in another town. And I sign up, and you have to live in the town to get priority, but I signed up for the wait list. So I came home today, and they were like, we have an opening on Thursday. That's the day of the yoga class. So I've gone twice so far. I've made myself go. It's like Kim, like, I made myself go. And then last week on Thursday, it was raining and it was cold, and they called, and I was like, I don't want to go today. And they go, we have an opening tomorrow. I was like, okay. And it was like, I don't really want to go. It's cold. It's kind of cold. And when I landed there, it was like the sun came out, and I was done. The sun came out, and it's the only place, I mean, where for our bodies is like in the water. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
It feels so good in the water. Like, I was doing my physical therapy at the end. She had me transition to try water because they had a program after you finish physical therapy that you can come use the pool. And it was really wonderful. At the same time, it was so exhausting to get ready for the pool and then clean off after the pool. So that's always been the thing. And then it's so invigorating, but then you get kind of drained after the pool because you're just tired, like you need time to take a nap after the pool.
It's like
I used to, when I was going in October, November, I got energized. And then this was the first time back. I felt great. And then the next day I was just, okay, I got to recover.
Yeah, you got to give yourself time to
But
recover.
I thank you, Elizabeth, for saying about advocacy, because I remember you did say that we should be allowed to go swimming. And there used to be a warm pool in Berkeley for the disabled. And Berkeley's a big disabled, advocacy community. And there is nothing. And it's like, I wish I could just go in a pool.
Oh, the warm pool makes the biggest difference, because if I go in a cold pool, I can't move fast enough to warm myself up. You know, if you like
Yeah.
back in the day when I would swim, you know, you could just start swimming and then you'd warm up. But if it's not like a nice warm toasty pool, then my spasticity starts getting worse.
Yeah,
But
it's 82 near my house, but that pool is closed because they don't have a budget. But this other one in Emeryville, it's 80 degrees. And I know I went in there like, and I forgot. I was like, then when I got out, because I didn't remember how to go there, and they won't let you change. Well, they let me go in the bathroom. This other woman is older, and it's like, we're disabled. We can't like change at our car, you know, so they let us go in the bathroom. Everyone else has to go another way. But I was like, how do I prepare for this? Wait a minute, you know, and I found like a dress with long sleeves. So when I get there, I can do that. And then I got out and I was like, my hair is all wet. And then I found like I have a thing that I put on my head, but I forgot. So I'm like, yeah, just all that memory, you know, all that prep.
preparation, yeah.
Yeah. And Hannah, I don't want to put you on the spot, but we're talking about like exercise and everything and how important that is. Would you say like your art, like that's a kind of exercise for like low intense, but like builds connections or something in your brain?
Yeah, so from what I can gather, you know, having done this and having made it a practice ever since, you know, diagnosis, try at least trying to do, you know, something every single day. I really do feel like it's power in that repetition. So power in the repetition, but also literally looking at the way the colors and the textures of whatever you're using interact with each other. It's that kind of thing takes your mind away into some sort of what's the word? It's always hard for me to describe this for some reason, but it just sort of helps you to concentrate on something other than yourself or something other than your own mind or your own body and focusing on whatever's in front of you. You're literally paying attention to a certain line that you've made, literally paying attention to the way colors overlap each other. And in that, if you let yourself, you can just sort of take your mind away from from yourself. I think I'm repeating myself at this point, but hopefully that makes sense. And I feel like there's a connection with exercise and with yoga and really other things too. Um, the same person that I mentioned that was my sister's mentor, um, she also went on uh, to describe her practice with teaching yoga to the military, because of course San Antonio is a big military base. And so she teaches yoga to one of the bases here in town. And she describes yoga as the same kind of mindset that they get when they're fishing. If they like to fish, it's it's being able to concentrate on something and for a purpose, for a goal. And you're out there, you're fishing, you're concentrating on the water, you're out there concentrating on the fish, whatever the weather is like. I'm not a fisher, so
Yeah.
hopefully I'm describing that correctly, but hopefully you get the picture. And so yoga is really anything that can take your mind off of yourself and your surroundings. And so I feel like art is very much the same way. Um, you just have to be open to not making mistakes, but going with the flow, being open to taking those twists and turns and letting the art show you the path that it wants to take. Um, and in that, it's more of a relaxation, a therapy for me at least.
And just for Megan and Karen and Tree Tree and everything, you are having an art. When is your art program that you're doing, Hannah?
Yeah, so for ANCAN, I'm doing it next week. So that one's free on the 30th at 7:30 Eastern time. so 6:30 Central. Mhm. And then there's another one for the MSAA that I'm doing on April 13th. And that one's not free, but it is a fundraiser for them.
But the one on the 30th, now Dan and I are going to participate, and we all can participate. Yay, yeah. So I mean, I think it could be a really good opportunity to just try something new. And we're just gonna bring old cards, like credit cards or gift cards, and
Yep. So you bring your old gift cards, whatever paint you have. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. I'm going to be using the dollar paints that you get from Walmart.
okay.
And so it's literally like taking the card and scraping against the paper, and it's got to be cardstock. So cardstock or like watercolor paper if you happen to have that, something like thicker. But I'll show you guys examples of like you can make Christmas cards with them or any kind of like birthday cards with them. You can make frames for photos. But it's more about um, it's more about like watching the colors interact with each other and layering the colors and seeing all the different textures that you can make and just sort of playing with it. So I'll be showing you guys examples of what you can do with literally just the gift cards. Like you don't even need a paintbrush or anything.
Can you
But
use cardboard for the
where do you
paper?
get the paint from?
So I got the paint from Walmart. So just any like craft store that you can find that's got paints and doesn't have to be anything fancy. You can get like the $1 ones because then you can buy more colors. You can buy more colors on the paper. So
Now,
So it's
Hannah,
not, I have art phobia, but I always say that. And then I do stuff like that. And then I
yeah,
go, oh, look, Ma, I did it. I did it. But I always need permission to go, but I have art phobia. It's funny because today I had to go to Kaiser and I was like, I don't know. I just felt like being
yeah,
colorful. You know,
yeah.
and it was warm out, but you know, I like color. So, but you said it's on the 30th
hmm
an
at
hour earlier. So the same
well, I'm
place
in
here, close to
time,
6:30 Central Time versus 7:30.
so 5:30 my time, maybe.
Yeah. So Anna, a couple
Yeah, that's
questions.
right.
So the paint by number paint that you get when you buy paint by number, is that acrylic?
Yes, that's acrylic. Yes,
Okay,
it's got to
got
be
it.
acrylic.
Second of all,
Yeah,
paper. Does cardboard work?
yeah, yeah. Cardboard. Yeah, that'll work. That would be an interesting texture. I'm curious about that.
I got old pizza box.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's
Got
see what you
cardboard.
can
Okay.
make with a pizza box. I
All
say
right.
go for it.
I can use
But
my
yeah,
paint by number paint and cardboard.
yeah, use whatever paint you've got. Use the gift cards. Make sure the gift card is empty. Just throwing that out there. You don't want to like
Yeah. Don't
use
waste it.
one that's got
Yeah,
exactly, exactly.
exactly. Well, thank you for putting that little blurb out there and then Kim, thanks for asking about cardboard because that's so what I'm bringing. Yeah,
Good,
what we're
good.
bringing. Yeah. So,
Maybe I'll make an example to show you guys what it looks like because I'm super curious about that.
yeah, that's, that's cool.
And I'll be talking about my thought process as when it comes to colors and choosing colors and sort of like what goes through my head whenever I think about those kinds of things. Because I know that for some people it's difficult. It is difficult like choosing the right colors to go with it. So I'll be kind of explaining a little bit of that too. So you're not left in the dark with any of that.
Yay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to explain everything to me because art is not my strength. I enjoy it, but it's very, some people say, they have a barrier like math and they shut down with art.
Huh?
I kind of shut down because I'm just not good at it. But I enjoy it when you just let yourself like be in the flow and try to be creative, but just
Yeah.
realize it's gonna be more abstract than
Yeah. Give
precise
your
and
permission.
accurate.
Yeah, give yourself permission to let it be abstract and let it just flow from your hand. And I know that's a lot easier said than done, but once you have the paint and the card in your hand, maybe you'll see what I'm talking about.
If you
Excellent.
have good guidance, because there is my chorus, it's just a really small group of women that we sing, and then we have a fundraiser every year. And somebody, she moved to the Midwest, but she's an artist, so she would have in her backyard, she would create these little art projects for different things like that. Whatever, I can't remember all of them. We made cards, and then we had like FEMO, and she would just guide us. But I was like, but I have art phobia, but and then we just sitting outside doing a little art thing, and I have like the FEMO thing in my bathroom. Is like, I think we covered like electric lights, but I always feel like so proud I did that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I got art phobia. It's like, I don't do things like that.
And
That's good
those
though.
of us living with multiple sclerosis to have those moments where we've created something that we can be proud of, or like, yeah, I rocked it.
Yeah.
That's pretty empowering. It's a good
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah, and the way I see it, like life should be filled with lots of those moments where those you did it moments, those like moments where you went over the hump or you went over the curve and you have something to be proud of, and that's primarily why I keep doing art and keep pushing forward because it does so much for your psyche, just having those little victories that you can then put in your back pocket and call it your well-being back pocket, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
Just to change subjects at all, Megan and Tree, was there anything that you guys wanted to talk about tonight? I know, Megan, it's your first time here and you've been feeling isolated in your home. Is there anything that you needed to get off your chest or wanted to talk about, or questions, or you got all the MSers here at your disposal? So
Nah, Kim, I really appreciate that. Just being here helps tremendously. As I said, it's me taking the first step, and it's a very good thing. Unfortunately, with the internet and COVID, it's very easy to get comfortable being isolated, which I'm sure a lot of you will agree with. It gets so easy to just turn on Netflix or play a game, and before you know it, a lot of time has passed, and you really haven't done anything productive.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that's good that you're here. Thank you for sharing that. I think
You're
all of us
very welcome.
feeling like that.
And I wasn't like ignoring. I was just looking on my phone to see when our next meeting is, just before everybody leaves. But we will be here
3 weeks.
on, other than Hannah's party next week. It would be 13.
Yeah.
It will be Tuesday, the 13th of April. That's
3
April
weeks.
13th.
Yeah.
And then after that will be April 27th. But yes, April 13th at 8:30 Eastern time.
And Megan, I was going to say, productivity is totally overrated. It's so overrated. I napped today. Really good. I didn't leave my house for 3 days because I have a little driveway and I can't get down the driveway even with my walker very easily. And it's like, okay, I went to the Kaiser today for my tibial nerve stimulation to help with incontinence, and it really helps. So, I went for that, and I was like, well, come on, get dressed, go out, like.
Yeah.
But it's overrated. It's like so over. I mean, it's not to put down what Hannah, I agree with you. Yeah, you created something, but just to say, I didn't do anything. Like, good for you, Megan. You didn't do anything for 3 days. Good for you.
No, well, not it's been more than 3 days.
Yeah,
More
but I
than
mean,
3 days.
and this is my third time here, so it's really been extremely helpful for me to.
Well,
I'm glad I can end instead of my foul, like, really, the MS Society of Primary Progressive.
no, I think that's very good. Your honesty is appreciated. It's good for all of us. So,
Tree, wasn't your grandma get to visit you? How'd that go?
So because of the snowstorm, she decided not to come because she was driving her RV, and she was in, I think, Arizona when it started, and her RV doesn't have heat. So now she's coming sometime next year-ish.
so body some time.
Yeah, but I posted a picture online that had my crutches in the background, and she called me to ask me why I didn't tell her that I can't walk. So that was really awkward. because she was mad at me.
Yeah, if you don't mind, how did you handle that?
Yeah.
I was like, well, I don't really like talking about it. It's kind of embarrassing because I'm only 28. And she was like, it's a disease. You shouldn't be embarrassed.
Well, that's
I
true.
was like,
For your
aw, love
grandma.
you, Grams.
Aw,
That was really sweet of her.
that's good.
Yeah. And I was going to say, since you were talking about art, I made a shawl.
Oh, beautiful.
I haven't been
That's
able to crochet in
cool.
years because my hands hurt too much. But I figured out there's this really thick yarn that I can use.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
And
that's better for you?
yeah, and I have a specially ergonomically designed crochet hook too. That's huge. And
Nice.
That's really cool. I definitely don't know how to crochet, so maybe you can teach me sometime.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
Are you
cool.
so you have to use crutches? You can't use a walker?
I have an upright walker that I use for going around the block, but it doesn't fit in my car. It's so that you're standing completely upright when you use it. So it's like almost as tall as I am, and it only
Wow.
collapses this way. So like I have to put the back seats down, and like I can't have anything else in my car if I try to shove it in there. And
Wow.
it's also
I had
really
that
heavy.
walker. Yeah, and then I found a lighter walker, but you can't do that. But yeah, I had that same issue, and
Yeah, so
then
I use forearm crutches, but I don't mind using them.
did I show you what? Oh, I don't know. I can't really show, but this was my little creative project because how do I get my food around in the house? How do I do this? So I put a basket on the seat of a walker and I put a tray on top. And
Nice.
That's a good
Now,
idea.
then I can lift it because I've been lifting this weights.
That's a good idea.
Oh, awesome.
And I mean, I got a walker a year and a half ago, and yes, I felt embarrassed about having a walker, and I was horrified and like, oh my God, now I have 5 walkers because I got to keep one out the back door. I got 2 different kinds in the car, and someone was giving one away. I want to give away. I have one back here that's too heavy and it's got big wheels, and it was good when I was first able to walk a mile and a half a year and a half ago, but I can't do that anymore. But I'm really proud of this one, and somebody was giving it away.
Totally.
Isn't it amazing how we innovate things
Yeah, I mean, this disease is.
out
So
of necessity?
I have a little group that my friend invited me to, and we wind up writing, and on different topics. It's like once a month, and it was about creativity. So I have this little thing I wrote, and I was like, when I began this creative journey called MS.
That's one way to look at it.
Yeah, and I had this other basket, and I put a plastic basket on it, and I stuck something else under it because I wanted it higher. Then I bought a tray, and it was really ugly. And then I realized I had these wicker baskets, and I had this tray, and it fits. And anybody who sees it, they go, "Oh, it's beautiful." But I wouldn't. Nobody tells you things. They
No.
something like that. Nobody tells you. And they do sell they sell like a little cart, like a trolley cart for like $300, and it's the height of a seat. Well, that's just not convenient. Okay,
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
one other tip, because no one tells you, and I haven't been able to buy shoes because I trip over my toe because I have foot drops.
Yeah, ditto.
And then I'm just afraid, and I'm most comfortable barefoot because I'm afraid I can't fall. But just a tip in case anybody else needs it, but there's these shoes called Altra, Altra. Well, it's funny that has it, but it's called Zero Drop. So that means I'm not tripping over my toe because it's putting my foot back. And and then people say, "Oh, it looks comfortable," and it's like it's not really that comfortable, but it feels like barefoot, which is for me comfortable.
Very comfortable.
That I'm afraid because the first time I bought a pair of shoes that were almost like something I fell flat on my face. I got a big black eye last year. So I'm just terrified of, any little change.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought, why doesn't anybody tell me about these zero drops? It's just, you're not pushing on
That's
your
the
toe.
great thing about hanging out with other MSers. You'll find out a lot of where I find out my information from other MSers, like that personal trainer. I would have never stumbled across him. And I can't tell you how many things I've gotten from, I like say it to someone, then someone will go, oh yeah, blah, blah. It's like, amazing.
Karen, I have to tell you that I have partial numbness in my toes and my feet too, and so I'm actually working on a blog post on the types of shoes that have helped me while I've had MS, because there were 2 different gait problems I've had, and one when I was in my 20s had nothing to do with numbness. It was, I don't know what really it was. It was just sometimes I couldn't walk and sometimes I could, and I found clog shoes helped me with that. And then so when I relapsed again in 2018, I had this moment where I was like, oh, I still have the clogs, let me dig them out and see if they help. But since my feet were partially numb, they didn't help that anymore. But I had this, well, I remember seeing my brother talk about barefoot shoes, and he had the weird toe ones, and I was like,
Right.
let me try something. And I found these Merrell trail gloves, and I've had them for 2 years, and I love them, and it's made it so much easier because you really have to feel like what you can with your feet. Like,
Oh, I never thought about that. That's,
yeah,
because I only got them 2 weeks ago.
uh-huh. It's helped me a lot. I got them right after this, like a month after my relapse, because I was like, it's like you're foot blind, you know? Like you're blind with where you're gonna put your feet. Like
Yes.
you don't know where to step down on your foot. Like, and it's helped so much. And so I'm working on a blog post right now to share information. It's supposed, there are articles that talk about proprioception, and that it helps, if you step correctly, it gets everything in the line, and your hips work better and everything. Like, you have to have that awareness. And people, that there's this like movement with barefoot running and stuff, like really serious barefoot runners that swear by barefoot running because it's better for their feet and their posture. So I was like, why don't, that's why I'm writing a blog, because like I had to find it out by myself, and you had to find it out by yourself. Like, it's great for us to share these tips with each other, because
And that proprioceptor, before I was diagnosed, I just knew that something's wrong with me. And my friend's husband, I like different kind of body movement things. So he's a Feldenkrais practitioner. Me just kind of does it on the side. So I went over to his house, and he worked on me, and he said, yeah, your proprioceptors, and I stood up after whatever he did with me, and I felt, wow, I felt better. It was probably right before I was diagnosed, when I was like, there's something wrong with me. And I felt really good, but it didn't last. But, yeah, all those little things, the yoga, the art, everything that like circumvents, yeah, you got to think, but then things that just, it's so important.
Absolutely. Well, on that positive note, yeah. What's up, Frank?
Dan, what did you say our next meeting was?
Last I know, it was April 13th.
How about April 6th?
That's the first Tuesday. I just made an appointment at Kaiser. That's the first Tuesday.
We do it the second. Is the second?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh no! I was you got me there, Frank. I'm thinking, wait, no, you're right. No, yeah, it is April 13th because it is the second and fourth Tuesday.
I was going 2 weeks. I don't know. I just
that's okay. It was a big day.
That was a huge day.
So our next group is Tuesday, April 13th.
Okay.
In
3
3
weeks.
weeks, because there's 5 Tuesdays in March. That's why we have to go an extra week.
Yeah.
But we could go to Hannah's and see somebody.
But if you come back next week, an hour earlier, you can hang out with us, and Hannah's gonna treat to teach us some art. So come back next
Is
week
it an
and
hour
do some art
earlier?
with us.
Wait, so does it start an hour earlier than this group?
Yes.
Yes. Yes,
7,
it does.
7:30.
So it'll be 4:30 my time, not
Yes.
5.
Yes, you got 3 hours. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Just separated by hour.
if you haven't shared your email address, Megan, I don't know when you signed up if you gave your email address to Ann so we can send you a reminder.
Actually, yeah, because I got the link about tonight's meeting through the through an email. So
Excellent. So I guess
And I'll say it just because you all were part of my like trauma and journey and everything, but because she encouraged me, she's like, why don't you call the infusion center today? Blah blah blah. So I called the infusion center. They made a call, called me back, and I'm getting my Ocrevus on Friday. So
Oh,
finally after
good.
all of this,
yay.
and I have no idea what it's going to cost, but you know what's
I can
what's
tell
a
you cash price,
It
but
costs $65,000.
you know, and
Ocrevus has payment programs. Sorry,
It
I
costs
know
I
they
didn't
do.
want to have
Elizabeth,
Judge Karen.
I have Medicare, I don't know, Medicare Advantage, but I have Medicare, but I was told with my Kaiser health insurance that I wouldn't have to pay anything, which shocked me. Not even a copay for it. Like it was considered a procedure or something. I don't know.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't pay anything either for it, Dan. That's through like their copay assistance program, so you definitely want to check that out.
Well,
Me too.
because that's just it. I'd been, for 20 plus years, I'd been on the Beta
Mhm.
Seron and with, patient assistance. I mean, because really, I had health insurance, through my employer, but even at that, at 10, 20% of a copay for drugs that's that expensive, that was a lot. And so, this time, yeah, it's like I'll wait and see what the costs are, and then go to Genentech and just talk. So it's like,
well,
what's that? What kind of assistance do you have? It even just helps. I'm not doing that much of a copay. So
Or
yeah,
even your insurance, but try to do it before because I didn't. Not about Archivist, but I didn't. It wasn't until didn't before I was even diagnosed. I was going out of my mind, and I said to my doctor, "I need a case manager." And she said, "We don't have one." I go, "What about a social worker?" And then she called me, and then I said, "I make $25,000 a year, and I had to pay like $800 in copays." And she goes, "Really? Do you know you're eligible for financial medical assistance?" And I haven't paid a copay for anything ever since
nice.
then. So I don't. Every time it's like you need a lab, no problem.
Yeah. So I'm encouraged because I talked to my employer and talked to the insurance there within benefits and stuff, and so um, I'm confident, that I'll at least be able to cover this first one, but I just wanted to make sure that I got two in the same year and it wasn't staggered because then I would
yeah.
end up paying twice, in terms of deductibles and stuff. So
Well,
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
oh,
with that,
sorry. Ocrevus has a
well,
really
I'm cutting you both off now. I'm talking. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Ocrevus has a really good copay
Hmm.
program, and so if you call their patient navigator line, they actually assign you like 3 patient navigators, so you'll always be talking to one of the same 3 people to help you navigate. And what they do is they issue a copayment card after you sign up for the copayment program, and you should only need to pay like $10 per
Yes.
infusion probably. And it's just, but you do have to find out, like some places take the copayment card, but with me, I've had to submit my explanation of benefits and my detailed receipt from my doctor's office by infusion center. And then after I do that, on the website, on the Ocrevus copay website, then they load the card, and then I call up the infusion center and pay the copayment.
I'll look into that. I'll do that tomorrow just so I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it before because my experience was, I made all these co-payments and then, you know, I mean, it's a different thing. It's not insurance. But then I said, well, can I get some of that $800 back? They said, no, you paid it. I was like, well, that was stupid. Why did I pay? You know?
Yeah, seriously though, Dan, if it's one less thing you have to worry about in terms of payment, because I know if it wasn't for the assistance, there's no way I could afford it. Who can?
Yeah,
So
exactly. Well,
Medicare. And that's why they're like,
$250,000 a year for a drug. Let's just be honest.
exactly, it's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah, yeah. Karen, when you say this, 65 is the half dose. So you get a half dose, and 2 weeks later you get a half dose, and then every 6 months is a full dose. So you got to
but a
double the
year
price for the full dose, Karen. So it's like around $124,000 for the full
for
dose.
the year? Because I thought I was told that it
No,
was 60
no, that's per dose. So
Yeah.
when you first start the infusion, they give you half a dose, and then 2 weeks later you get another dose, and that infusion is $64,000 each. And then after that, every 6 months you get a full dose, and that's around $124,000. And you get that twice a year, so it's about $250,000 cash sticker price if you had no insurance.
I had one Ocrevus bill that showed for one infusion $250,000, like it was $222,000, and it was infusion centers, and I paid $10, but like it's like wait, my last infusion at the same infusion site was billed at like $100,000 less. What are they doing here?
So
For that much money, I feel like I should be feeling better. Sorry, Kim. I'm just saying.
Oh, no. Like that's like a cost of like my house. My house is like we pay like $130,000. So every time we're talking about infusion, it's like that's like a cost of my house, dude. Let's just be honest.
Exactly.
But no,
Yeah.
my insurance last year forced me to leave the infusion center at the hospital and go to an like an office building, place to do it. That infusion went down to like 33,000, 75% less.
Oh, it was on sale.
Back there, yeah. But then when I went back there 6 months later, it went up to 122,000. Like, how did your prices skyrocket in 6 months?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, very.
That was me when I was filing for an appeal to have a second opinion, because I wanted somebody who was knowledgeable about MS, not somebody who dabbles in it or somebody who just got out of school. I wanted to get a real second opinion. So I wrote this 3-page, I like to write, I'm a good writer. I wrote this 3-page summary of like what had been going on with me for 3 months. And I said, so before I, agreed to a $65,000, I didn't even know it was $250,000. Before I agreed to that, I ought to at least get a second opinion. And then, I don't know, most of you, Frank will know this, but maybe most of you are too young, but there used to be a TV show called The $64,000 Question. So, I'm hopping mad and I'm writing about this shit and and then I said, it's the $65,000 question. And I was like, I always find the humor, like in all my rage. I ended it. And if someone doesn't know that reference, they're like, well, that's crazy.
I laughed. There was some study, I don't remember what article I read, was talking about like disease states and like how expensive they were. And they were saying like, MS, over a lifetime was like 4 million. And I just started laughing because I'm like, that is such a low estimate. I'll hit 4 million with that drug alone, like in 10 years, like something ridiculous. Like that's not including MRIs, doctor's appointments, all the other stuff. So I just had a big giggle. I'm like, this is the biggest crack because we're way more expensive than that.
Well, bluntly, that's why there's no incentive to find a cure because it's a cash cow for them.
And primary progressive is really, like, well, if it hits you when you're 60 and you're 65 and doing, clinical trials, there's no incentive and there's no incentive. Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question to all of you Ocrevus users? So when Dan goes to get his infusion, how long do I have to expect him to be gone?
Hours, would you say, Kim?
Well, they'll probably start him out slow. The long range, I'd say 7 hours. But
That's
I
pretty
know
accurate.
that they've decreased the rate. They've increased the rate, so it might be less. But it also depends. Like when I was at the hospital, they give me the Tylenol and the Benadryl before they gave me the steroids, so it was faster. sorry, at the new place is faster, but at the hospital, they would give me wait until the Solu-Medrol was done, then give me those, and then make me wait 30 minutes before they start the Ocrevus. So it
Good
depends on
point.
how they do that. But at the max, 7 hours, 7.5. Make sure you bring your extension cord that you plug in, that you have the little thing so you can plug in your cell phone and whatever else is going to entertain you. And what else?
Although the
No.
Benadryl will knock you out, so you'll get a nice nap.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
Megan, it doesn't affect me. The steroid.
Oh, really? It knocks me out.
No.
Knocks me out. Benadryl knocks me out. Not with
Yeah.
Ocrevus.
Nice
It's a
nap.
Russian roulette for me which one is going to kick in. I've had it knock me out completely, the Benadryl. This last time, like the Solu-Medrol was just, like, and I wrote a blog post and I was like, okay, I'm not going to publish this now because like I was editing it while I was like, I have a feeling that this isn't quite right. And then I looked at it today and it was like, just like, each paragraph was okay, but it was like a jumbled mess. Like I was like, I gotta rearrange this. I was definitely high on steroids.
How do I find your blog post?
Oh, I'll put it here. And I was wanting to share before because we were talking about exercise, and I like doing qigong and body tapping, and I have a post about that I wrote a few. Oh, let me put it to everybody. I was just sending it to Kim.
Not to scare you, Dan, just like real quick. I think the least amount of time it's ever taken me personally is 6 hours, and that was not slowing it down. Like, and I think the most amount of time was 10 hours, but that was extreme. Like, you really had to slow it down for me. But 6 hours. But that's because they gave me the Benadryl, waited 30 minutes for that to kick in. They gave me the Solu-Medrol, then waited another hour for that to kick in, and then after that, it was smooth sailing for the most part. And I'm talking about the 6 hour experience. Um, After that, I don't think they once lowered the rate of infusion, so I just got to sleep the whole day, so that was really nice.
Well, was it because I was going to take my computer and I was going to write and stuff, but then apparently I won't because I'm going to be knocked out. But I guess, was there not something somewhere where they said something about the FDA approving a different form of Ocrevus that could be done in like 3 hours, 4 hours?
Not for your first dose.
It's the same Ocrevus infusion, but it's sped up to double time. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like you said, not for the first dose. I don't know. I think they want to see how you do first and make sure you don't have any reactions. But
your tolerances.
Talk to call up the infusion center and explain that it's a little bit of a difficult situation because you're
What's so funny is where Dan's having his Ocrevus is where I have my Rituxan. So when he called the nurse, she's like, "Oh yeah, I know you." So it's going to be interesting. We look forward to telling you all about it at our next meeting.
Oh, wish you good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for answering the question. Sorry to.
Yeah, no, that's good. Thank you guys. Because I'm just like, it's one of those things I told Jennifer. It's like you're wanting and you're impatient. You're just like, why isn't this happening? Why isn't this happening? And then when it's all approved, I'm just kind of just like staring at the computer. It's like, okay, this is so not cool. Because when we're talking about co-pays and stuff, like I'm not going to worry about that till I'm approved and it's there. I talked to my insurance company, but you're just like, you think you're ready, but then it's like, dude, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, I'm hoping it's like beta serin or like other drugs you take where it's just like, you're freaked out about it at first, but then, after your second, third thing where y'all are right now, you're just like, it's not a big deal. You're just like, it's just, I got to go get my infusion. And
yeah.
Yeah, Dan, for what it's worth, I've had 0 issues with the infusion itself. My biggest issue is that I have crap veins, so I'm there forever for them to just try to get a vein to get me
Yeah,
infused. But with the meds, I'm fine.
I know that pain. I know that.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
too.
they
Yeah.
every time they're like, they never want to put it in my. I'm telling you right now, you can try, but it's not gonna take. And then like the third stick, they're like, I'm so sorry, and I'm like thinking to myself, if you just listen to me, but that's fine. Well, I'll humor
Humane
you. You
cushion.
can go ahead and stab me a couple extra times.
Yeah.
But I don't say that because you know they're like, well, you're gonna have to hold your elbow out straight the whole. I don't have a problem doing
Oh.
that. I can do that. But it's just so funny because every time like, oh no, it's fine. And it's just like, all right, and they do
Yeah.
like the blows, and like I don't know why I'm having problems. I'm just like,
Wow.
this is how we do it. So don't be
Indeed.
afraid if you're like Megan or myself, and you.
You know what day I'm waiting for is when I was in the Lesionab clinical trial, they had a different kind of IV they put in me that it had a needle, but then they took out the needle and it was just a plastic flexible piece in your
Yes.
arm.
Hmm.
And not so you didn't have to keep your arm so straight. There wasn't a needle, in there. You weren't worrying about moving it around and bruising it. I
It's
haven't
called a
had.
butterfly. If it
Yes.
was, I mean, I was an RN, but I haven't put an IV in anybody in a long time. But it's called a butterfly.
A
So they fit it in.
butterfly.
Yeah, they're good.
Great. It was great.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've been paying attention, everybody. You know, I was copying stuff from the chat so I don't lose it. And then I couldn't figure out where you guys are because, I'm used to Zoom. And I was like, well, where are they? What, what happened to them? I think I'm just going to have to say, sorry, everybody. I don't know where you are, but I did find you again.
Oh, and Dan, one last thing. Just make sure you super hydrate the day before. Get those veins nice and plump.
Yes.
Yeah.
Drink lots of fluids the morning of, even though you got to get up and pee a lot. It's worth it versus them not being able to.
Yes.
It is worth it.
Right
It
there.
is.
It's worth it to be hydrated or a little overhydrated when you
Yeah.
show up. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Highly
I
recommend.
my
I'm getting
veins
my second
my
vax tomorrow. And my doctor said, yeah, hydrate well before. And I was like, but then I'll be like waiting for my vaccine. I'll have to.
Yeah.
This slide shows the loss in oligodendrocytes in the mice treated
Oh
with
no, look at I got the
That was. Is
mice.
that
shut up, shut
up?
up.
Karen did what I did earlier, where I clicked on the
Hey,
link.
stop it. Oh my god. I'm
You're
doing a
gonna have
Frank.
to. You're gonna have to click your browser. Mine opens up in Bing. That's why I couldn't find the video because I usually use Chrome. So check it. But yeah, I
I
had that where
realized
you
I was
start
going to stop it, but it's not even letting me stop. Oh, there it is. I stopped it. Okay. Sorry about that. Now we know how that happened to other people.
If you go to the top of your GoToMeeting and you click on File, there's actually an option to save the chat log, so you can access it later.
But I have to do that, like into more.
I don't know if it somebody said that it automatically saves, but I don't
I
know.
remember that, but then my MS brain has to figure out where it is.
I haven't checked to see if it does, but if you just click File, there's that Save Chat Log option, and you can name it what you
Well, I have
want.
Hannah's class, and I have your blog, and now I have that mice study. So. And I did copy everything and I threw it in a Word doc, but then, it's a Word doc, so it pasted it as a graphic.
Well, this has been a great group, and I know my husband's ready to go. He's got to work in the morning, so yeah. I
Thanks
guess
so much.
I hope we'll see everybody at Hannah's Art, and if not, then we'll see you next month or in
April 13th.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
And tomorrow night is Rick's program. Did he?
Yes, thank you for reminding us, Karen. I would have forgot.
Yeah. So I think it's 7:30 my time.
So that was okay.
4:30. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope you all have a great couple weeks.
All right, this has been great. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you so
thank
much
you.
for
Pleasure.
coming.
Take care.